time that it supports function of vitamin B12 required for production of SAM and its progeny, homocysteine, which is converted into cysteine and glutathione. The final benefit is that the glutathione protects the hydroxycobalamin transport system to maintain this methylation cycle. I'll stop right there. That's paragraph 1 of a 3-page letter. The short and long of it is that he wants me to take selenium. Number 2, he says vitamin B12, and he explains why. Then he says vitamin B2, riboflavin, and why I should be taking that. You probably don't know much of this. Step 4, he says vitamin C is the primary water-soluble antioxidant. However, in high doses, some of you don't know this, however, in high dosages, some vitamin C is converted into a pro-oxidant form. Did you know that? Dehydroascorbate, which is irritating, but not all bad. In fact, after a few days, as the acute infection subsides, one is left with damaged tissues, sore throat, persistent cough, and symptoms that can go on for weeks. Oh, God. Okay. 5, vitamin E. Mixed tocopherols are primary membrane protectors. So I'm taking a lot of vitamin E. 6, herbal antioxidants such as ginkgo, curcumin, and milk thistle. 7, betaine and glycine and taurine. And then here's the one that I think you'll find most interesting, and I'll summarize this paragraph of the letter from my friend. Finally, Michael, it is wise to see the big picture. Flu is not just an acute nuisance these days. Such infections are more stressful than the common cold. Remember, CFIDS is often heralded by viral infection. Chronic fatigue immune dysfunction syndrome. Many patients suffer for years, even unto death, from this travesty. A clinical study showed that 2/3 of chronic CFIDS patients recovered in 2 months on a methyl support nutrient regimen. But the resistant cases probably have post-viral damage to endocrine and hepatic renal detox systems, as well as less obvious damage to brain due to demyelination during the time of cobalamin transport blockade by oxidative stress. Such damage has been overlooked as a possible complication of viral infection. I won't go on because I think many of you are turning the show off right now. The important thing for you to know is that there are many, many things in nutrition that you think you know and you know nothing about. Many of you do some of the right things, but you're only at the infant stage of knowledge in nutrition. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse because there's a giant conspiracy from the pharmaceutical industry and the medical establishment itself to keep you on the allopathic remedies and not the nutritional support mechanisms. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Your Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust for tangible assets, gold and silver. Call 800-BUI-COIN.
See, that is how you will rise above the noise and shape the revolutions of your time. That is how you will have a meaningful journey on those clamorous highways of life. And graduates, that is how you will carry on the proud legacy of this great institution for generations to come.
Right, that's how you'll get 72 personal assistants and make believe you're down with the people. That's how you'll abuse the American people and make believe you're with the people. That's how you'll go on vacations at public expense and make believe that you're poor. That's how you'll move your mother into the White House and make the morons pay for it. That's how you do it. And then, of course, her husband is even a bigger joker than she is. This is the most astonishing lie I've ever heard in my life. Clip 12, please. This is unbelievable. This one.
And I can say that no U.S. president, no administration has done more to ensure that Israel can protect itself than this one.
Are you kidding me? The man is racing to let Iran get a nuclear bomb. And the Jews applaud. You know, I could say something right now, but it's at the risk of my career to repeat it. I don't know that it's insulting. I don't understand how liberal Jews survive. They can be geniuses in medicine, brilliant in business, brilliant in banking, brilliant in so many fields, but have no common sense about their own survival. And they keep voting for a man like this, who has done more and more and more to undermine Israel than any president since Israel's been founded. Yet when he tells the lie to the Jews, in front of the Jews, No president has done more to ensure that Israel can protect itself than this one. That's a total lie. And then it gets worse in clip 13. You have to hear this. This is a shocker and disgusting.
Earlier this week, I was actually interviewed by one of your members, Jeff Goldberg. And Jeff reminded me that he once called me the first Jewish president.
Ugh.
Now, since some people still seem to be wondering about my faith, I should make clear this was an honorary title, but I was flattered.
He goes on. Wait, it gets even more nauseating. This is something only Woody Allen could find appealing. Listen to 14.
And as an honorary member of the tribe,
disgusting.
Not to mention somebody who's hosted 7 White House seders and been advised by 2 Jewish chiefs of staff. I can also proudly say that I'm getting a little bit of the hang of the lingo. But I will not use any of the Yiddishisms that Rahm Emanuel taught me because I want to be invited back. Let's just say he had some creative new synonyms for shalom.
Such a schmuck. Would that be a synonym for shalom in Rahm Emanuel's vernacular? Okay, we know what a politician does. They pander. So in front of Jews, he's a Jew. In front of Muslims, he's a Muslim. They're comedians, in other words. There's nothing unusual about that. And then he goes on Memorial Day, and he has a picture tweeted out of him sucking on an ice cream cone, slurping an ice cream cone and tweets out having a good Memorial Day. No mention of the troops. That's the schmuck in chief. That's the country that you're living in now. In the next segment coming up, I have a real big treat for you. I couldn't get to it last week, but it's the story of medical marijuana from the man who discovered weed's secret ingredient, Raphael Mechoulam, who had the honor of meeting in Israel in 1978, by the way. He invited me to teach there and do research there, but I, for many reasons, didn't accept that. You'll meet the man who discovered weed's secret ingredient when I return right here on the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Shamans, physicians, and pharmacists have dabbled in the notion of marijuana as medicine for thousands of years, but the relief patients feel is largely anecdotal. Marijuana's status as a Schedule I drug means that according to the federal government, it has no accepted medical use. The U.S. government strictly controls all American marijuana studies, and researchers who want to study cannabis must obtain it from this facility at the University of Mississippi. By some accounts, the supply is extremely limited and of questionable quality. And some scientists claim that if their research might show potential positive medical uses for marijuana, their requests are rejected. It's a charge the government denies. But in other nations, getting cannabis to scientists is less complicated. Israel is among the leaders in medical marijuana research. From his lab bench in Jerusalem, Raphael Mechoulam has fathered nearly 2 generations of peer-reviewed medical research. He first discovered THC in 1964.
Cannabis, although it had been investigated, nobody had really isolated it in pure form, and neither were all the other compounds there. So I thought that it's high time that somebody should do that.
For 40 years at Hebrew University, researchers study effects of THC and other cannabinoids on people and laboratory animals. Mechoulam dissolves the THC in an oil-based solution. In this form, measured doses can be administered accurately. Researchers here have witnessed promising results in the treatments of brain trauma, diabetes, cancers, and osteoporosis.
Cured here.
20-year-old Eyal Preisler underwent a bone marrow transplant a year and a half ago. Since then, his body experiences a chronic quasi-rejection called graft versus host disease.
I am treated by the THC drops for 2 months already, meaning that I just started and I already saw changes. Whether it is the digestive system, the diarrhea that is gone, and my skin that was very hard is now softer and back to its original state. My appetite is back. It significantly increases the appetite, and I actually gained 4 kilos in the past 2 months. I need to gain a lot more weight to get back to where I was.
Each dose that Eyal takes is as measured as any prescribed medicine. Most marijuana taken as medicine in America is not.
Medical marijuana in the States means use of marijuana against diseases. Now, from my point of view, medical marijuana is not well defined. It should be better defined. If you take aspirin, you want to take 500 milligrams of aspirin. You don't want to say, well, I don't know how much I'm getting, 20 milligrams or 2 grams. I don't see any difference why one should have a different attitude when working with marijuana. And if marijuana can have anything between 2% and 20% THC, I don't think that this is the right way to do it.
One thing is certain. Much cannabis today has no resemblance to the plant of our ancestors. This weed, the proverbial sow's ear of yesterday's cannabis, has become a silk purse.
Life seems to be very complicated in every place of the world. Most of us are anxious from time to time. Most of us are depressed from time to time. We want to change that. And in many cases, such a change can be brought forward by cannabis. So that's why people use it. That's all.
So if a stranger walked up to you and poured pebble-like seeds into your hand and then said, plant them and your harvest can be made into rope, cloth, or paper, it could help the sick or intoxicate. What would you say? Would you keep the seeds or chuck them away?
I would turn this off now, and here's what I would say. I would say that in America, medical marijuana is a travesty. In America, medical marijuana is used just to get high. In America, medical marijuana was pushed by George Soros, and I can prove it because I fought against his institutions in 1998 when he was trying to pass medical marijuana initiatives in Arizona and California. And I would say in America, medical marijuana is a misnomer. Other than that, I have no opinion on the matter. Now, I know that was a slow-moving segment, but I felt that it was very important to finally let you understand where I'm coming from on marijuana. I totally believe that the active principles of marijuana should be used in diseases in designated dosages. I'm totally opposed to using marijuana to get high because it has very deleterious effects on brains, especially developing young brains. And I think that in America, the idea of medical marijuana has been used strictly to dumb down the society. Now let's move back to politics per se. Again, you know the big story of the day. A federal appeals court overturned Obama's amnesty once again in plain English. It's a huge story. You're going to hear more and more about it tomorrow when it sinks in. Obama got kicked in the teeth once again by a federal court. The question is, what will this despot do? Since he's a member of the tribe, we can only guess how lawyers behave. As you well know, lawyers look to get around the law. So in that regard, I suppose he is a lawyer. WJR, Richard, thanks for holding. You're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind? Is he there, Richard? I guess they all went to sleep on the medical marijuana piece. Let's try the next one. WEZS Radio, Steve. Did he wake up back there, or is it a call screener out for pizza? Is anyone in the back room? We'll try one more now. Roger on WBOB. Let's see if he's awake. Roger, what's on your mind?
Thank God, Dr. Savage. I'm glad I waited. It's worth it listening to you for years. I just want to come back a little bit on the political side. I'll make this as fast as I can. As